Good afternoon, everyone. I am Brian Carter with the Basscast Radio. And up in my top corner, there's Hank, the Bass Geek. Welcome back, guys, to another great episode. As you guys can see, Geek's at the house. I am on location for this episode right here. I wish the internet was good enough because I'm about, 100 feet or less from the lake. I can actually look at it out the window. We're up here for the 2024 Big Bass Tour, where someone's going to take home a brand new nitro boat Sunday afternoon when the whole thing ends. So, guys, welcome to the show. It's been a pretty good week here, Geek. Man, what's been happening with you, brother?
Man, like I always say, we are living the grind, but this week's much better than last week. I told you earlier, the wife's sick. I hate that, but
Yeah.
gives me a good reason to say, well, honey, you're sick. I can't get sick. One of us has got to work, so I might as well go fishing.
There you go. Guys, we had stop number 2 of the Basscast Tournament Series last weekend. Mark Wynn and Mike Nichols end up winning that. Congratulations to them on winning that. If you haven't headed over and checked all the videos and interviews and everything we did, we'd really appreciate that. And Ultra Health, man, want to thank them for coming on again and sponsoring the $250 is what they gave away to our winners. So, I mean, they almost got $1,000 for 26 boats, 27 boats, whatever it was.
Nice.
So appreciate them. Guys, if you're up here in Bedford or Moneta and you need, they're kind of like we used to have I can't remember what it was. We had a walk-in clinic where I used to live back in the day. And they're kind of like that. And like I said, they're open late. And that's a great thing about it. So if you need any service at all, Ultra Health can get you taken care of. Also, SML Tackle Shack, they sponsored our On the Bubble this year. Both of them are sponsoring the website, guys. They're special thank you to help paying the bills for the website. But they sponsored the On the Bubble. Our On the Bubble winner this week is funny. We told him he should have saved that bass for this weekend, but he caught one almost 9 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a hoss. So if you haven't headed to the website yet, go down to Virginia, click the Basscast, and check out everything there. But thank you to SML Tackle Shack. This video and the podcast show will go up tomorrow. I'll work on this tomorrow while we're at the lake. But guys, if you're looking for some tackle, and I got the hat on, SML Tackle. If you're looking for some tackle before the event, they're right there when you make the left, heading into Moneta, make the left. They're right there in the old shopping center. There's a wood flooring shop there, and he'll be open early. I know he'll be ready for you guys to come on in and pick up what you need because he's going to have you stocked up and ready to go for the 2024 Big Bass Tour right here on Smith Mountain Lake.
Speaking of 9-pounders, I've got to pat myself on the back today. I caught some almost 3-pounders. Woo!
Heck yeah. My boy Jacob's out right now, and he's texting us some daggone good-looking photos. I think he'd have caught a couple, almost 5 today.
Nice.
The fish are biting. The fish are biting, so.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was on South Holston today, and the males have moved up. It's kind of the start of the second wave, I think. But I tell you what, man, those little 3-pounders, when you catch them off the bed, holy cow, you want to talk about the most fighting fish you'll ever fight. Those things are crazy, man. Crazy. Like, there was a couple, I was like, oh, God, get the net. And then he comes up and he's like 2 3/4 pounds.
Guys, also, we don't think our sponsors enough. Missile Baits, they're a sponsor of the Basscast, been a sponsor of the Basscast for the last few years. We appreciate them. And, man, thank you to them. And like I said, SML Tackle.
I was toasting them.
Yeah, hey guys, I ain't lying. We have a good time right here at the basscast.com. That's what it's all about. Because if you ain't having a good time, we have a great show. We have great guests. We have great people to come on, and that's what it is all about. Real quick, man, before we talk about our guest, Geek, you dropped another video, brother, and it has been shared. It has been shared to
Thank you.
Facebook, so
Thank
it's been
you.
shared.
It's
But
doing very
tell
well
tell us
right
what you're
now.
talking about, man, on this one.
So there's a couple of the name of the video is the new bait trend is crazy. And it's basically an unboxing, but what I'm specifically talking about are two sets of jigs from two companies. And we're seeing with every bait, either going, you know, extra large,
Right.
triple X if you're like me, or we're going micro small. And so we've
Yeah.
got some tungsten jigs, half ounce from Angler Tungsten, and we've got some from Fitzgerald now, that are skipping jig, micro skipping jigs made of tungsten. So it's pretty neat, man, and really nice stuff. A micro swim jig too by them. So
Oh
some
wow.
really interesting stuff, along with some new reels too. So
Oh crap. Yes. You're talking about those giant baits. You guys all seen that? Hopefully by now you've seen that jig by Missile Baits.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, that thing got, I mean, you could take, to be honest, I mean, I know everybody wants, fish for bass with it. Take that thing to a damn pier and throw it off. Holy cow. I
Yeah.
mean, the hook on this thing, I mean, you gonna hook
you
some
gonna
nice fish. I mean,
yeah, you're gonna probably catch some of them big drum out there, man, them reds and blacks. So
yes, that's 100% right there.
yeah.
Guys, tonight we've got a really, really special guest. I ain't gonna
Yes,
lie,
sir.
this is like probably, we talk about being fanboys.
Oh
Me and
yeah.
Geek bring it up, and
We
that's
gonna
probably one
fanboy
of the
out
biggest.
today.
Yeah, we're both huge fans of this one right here. I mean, I can watch this angler 24 hours a day, and just his demeanor and just how he teaches and how he instructs. I mean, guys, it's like, man, I get chills thinking about it now. But guys, tonight we got Mr. Greg Hackney on with us. And we're just going to talk. We're midway through the season pretty much. We're going to talk about the year so far. He's having a great year. He's sitting
Yep.
21st in points.
The hack
And
attack.
and on the old St. John's River last week, he finished in 6th place. I mean, he cashed his first top 10 check. And I want to say, let me look that up real quick. And nope. Last year on Lake St. Clair, he had a 9th place finish. And in the Bassmaster Classic in 23, he had a 10th place finish. So, I mean, he had cashed his first big check this year. So, guys, Greg Hackney right here on Bass Cast Radio. All right, guys, welcome to the show, Mr. Greg Hackney. Man, brother, we appreciate you coming on. We're such a fan of yours, dude. I mean, me and Geek
Yes,
both,
sir.
we love what you do. And I'll be honest, we love having you back on Bass. I mean, we love having you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Guys, if you haven't seen, man, like I said earlier in the show, I was talking about it. I mean, you're sitting in 21st in points so far this year. You a 6th, a 13th, a 49th, a 39th. I mean, you've had a great start to the 2024 season. Do you think you're kind of settled back down in the Bassmaster, format?
Yeah, I actually had a disaster the first event, and I've been able to kind of straighten that out a little bit. It has been kind of honestly, I hate to say this, I didn't know where I was in the points because I had told myself I would not look until we
oopsie.
Dang it, Brian.
So it's crazy that you say that because I didn't know. I want to look. I'll be honest with you. After having such a bad event, the first one, I had, and they've been getting better. I didn't want to look, so I haven't. And I said, well, when we finished at Smith Lake, in Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have a break and then we would head north. I said, I'll look then, and then I'll come up with a strategy of how I should fish the last 2 events.
Oh crap! The Basscast ruined that. I apologize. Oh, you're doing great.
So honestly, I'm better. I'm much better in the points than I felt like I was.
All right. Well, at least we gave you positive news.
Yeah, so it was positive because I was like, oh wow, I thought I was a lot worse than that.
No, I mean, like I said, after those great finishes, no, I mean, so coming back to the elites, man, you know, I know the elites opened up open arms, so a lot of the anglers come back. There's a lot of anglers that were on the bubble. They got kicked off and not kicked out, because you guys know how, I mean, some of you guys know that I think it was like the bottom 5 or 10 had to either requalify, go fish somewhere else. And a lot of guys decide to come over to bass. We got a lot of guys fishing the opens that are trying to make it back into the elite series that, man, that were there when you guys were at Smith Mountain Lake, and that's where we are today. And, you know, a lot of them are trying to come back. But how does it feel being back as an elite angler, man?
So actually now I've been back long enough that I have not forgotten about the past when I was not there, but it kind of feels like now I'm back in the groove as far as like I never left, if that makes sense. I mean, I know I left, and you know, hindsight is always 2020. I hate I didn't. I hate I left. Okay, I didn't, but whatever about that. I'm glad that's over.
Yeah.
That part of my life's over, and I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad I'm kind of back, you know, in the groove. What's crazy is I have had the opportunity to fish against everyone on the planet, basically, from FLW to the MLF to the new guys at Bass, because really the whole group at Bass now, with the exception of a handful of us, are really new guys.
Yeah,
you know, they're new to Bass, and even some of them that came from FLW, they came to FLW after I was gone from FLW, so I didn't get an opportunity to fish against those guys until now. So my career has been pretty cool in that I have got to fish against everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've kind of, you know, being in that transition, what's it been like? I mean, you know, taking a look back at last year and the opens, the league, you know, the 10 anglers that came from the opens. I mean, gee, these guys, Trey McKinney, I mean, hammer. I mean, you know, there's a lot of hammers that came out of the opens this year, and it's like, had they looked for you for guidance and, you know, direction?
So I do visit with all those guys. What is crazy about
that's cool.
This has to be the strongest group of open anglers in history. If you look at their performance, new to the elites, you know what I mean? You basically got all 10 guys that made it in, that are all fighting for Rookie of the Year, and they're all fighting for Angler of the Year.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy how strong this group has fished this year. Not just Trey. I mean, it's just a whole line. John wins at Hairshane. I mean, we got winners. We got Tyler Williams. Seems like he's in the top 10 every week.
Every week. And and immediately, defaultly, a lot of people are going to say, forward faces on them. Forward faces. These young guys are forward faces on them. But, you know, I think there's a lot of other good reasons why these guys are so good. You know, I mean, you know, Bass has done a great job of creating a feeder system for young guys, and that's something we need. You know, I know we were speaking to a young angler a few weeks back, and you know, I asked him. I said, you know, how many days on the water did you spend? You know, do you think you spent? He was like, easily over 200. Yes. You know, and we can say whatever technology you spend 200 days on the water. Time on the water. There's no exception for time on the water. So what do you kind of think about, you know, what would you tell everybody that's saying, oh, it's forward face sonar?
So here's the deal. While we're doing this podcast, these guys are somewhere. I mean, real now.
Yeah.
They go from tournament to tournament. I noticed what a couple of them did, and Trey McKinney being one of them, that after our last event, he stayed and fished.
Wow.
The St. John's is a place that, you're going there every couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, him and JT Tompkins both, they're roommates, and they were staying beside me there, and they both were there after the tournament was over, and still fishing. They're dedicated. Here's the other, so dedicated. Like, regardless if it's technology, whatever, these boys fish every day. And they are somewhere right now as we speak, either getting off the water, for the next event, or maybe 3 events down the road somewhere. But they are putting the time in. They're obsessed with bass fishing.
Which is great, man. That's to grow the sport, to get the sport where we want. And that's what I tell people. You've got to ignite the youth. You've got to ignite the youth. The youth has to look at it like, when they're in high school, when they're in college, and even middle school, I can be a pro angler, and here's the path. Just like you can say, I want to be a pro baseball player, or I want to be a pro football player or basketball player. Here's the path. We know what you have to do to get there. And it's pretty clear. And, when you get that youth excited about something, that's how you really grow any sport. In my opinion, we know what those are like, but,
like you said there, the 200 days on the water, but these young anglers now, they don't go get jobs anymore. And if they do, it's a winter job or something like that, where they pay their bills to fish throughout the whole entire year. And it really has become, if you go back and watch, everybody watched the videos that Bass put together, and they put together a lot of great videos about the past. And, there were weekend warriors. And, that's what the Bass Nation of Virginia, Bass Nation of Tennessee, all those Bass Nations were weekend warriors and hoping to get to the Elite Series eventually. Some did, some don't. But now it is something where we don't work a full-time job. We fish 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it's changed totally, the mindset and everything of the whole entire game. And that's probably why we had like you said, Hackney, I will say in my lifetime, probably just said it there, that was the best rookie class of elites that we'll probably ever see. Like in the 90s, there was about time in 90s when it was the best baseball rookie season that you'll ever see. And this was it.
So the other thing about it is, if you look, the average age of the angler that does well is so much younger than it's ever been before. And even if you took let's just take last year, the group of rookies we have now, let's take them out of the equation. The average age was already going down. So when I was growing up, it was really, let's say 40 to 50. The guy was hitting his prime at about 40 years of age. Like when we were seeing the guy dominate, whoever it would be, whether it be a Davey Height, you know what I mean? It was like when they had matured to that age. But now that average age is, like, a few years ago it was 35. Now maybe it's 30. And like we're with Trey McKinney now at 19. The sport evolves. Most sports, it is what it is. But in most sports, you see the younger, because here's the deal: when you're 19 to 25, you're pissing vinegar. You're you know what I mean? Like,
it don't hurt to bend over and pick your rods up off the deck.
Our sport, in the past, it was knowledge. So taking those guys older to get that kind of knowledge, but now with honestly, with Bassmaster Live, whether it be MLF Live, there's so much live coverage. There's so much YouTube. The learning curve happens so much faster than it ever has before. So I think that's one of the reasons because physically these guys had it the whole time, but mentally they didn't. And now because of, the knowledge that's out there that they can get from everything that's out there, their confidence level is what taking a guy being 30 to get to that point. Well, he's now point at 18 or 19 years old, 22 years old, whatever that number may be,
Yes,
like
sir.
earlier. So physically, we
Yeah.
know he's strong, but now his confidence level's high and the knowledge is out there. It's just so much easier to get the information now.
It is.
That's very, very true. And, you never, in the business side of it, we never thought we would see rod companies sponsoring YouTubers. I mean, there is so much out there. The whole sport's done changed
I don't know what
so
you're talking
much.
about.
Yeah, there's a couple YouTubers. There's one out there that's got a whole freaking line of rods. I mean, reels.
That is true.
Had a whole booth at the Red Crest and Bass Master and all that great stuff
That
a
wasn't
year
me.
ago.
I'm not that big.
But the sport itself is
circular.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, think about that. Like, you can YouTube any tournament, any body of water, any knot you want to tie, like anything you want to know, you can just go to YouTube and search it up, and there's probably 50,000 videos on whatever you want to watch.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Let's talk about 2024 a little bit, man. You said Toledo Bend, 94th place, rough event. It happens. But we here at the Basscast Radio like to talk about the mindset and overcoming adversity, and coming back up to finishing in 6th place on the St. Johns River. What's some of the steps that Hackney, kind of helps him get back into that?
Well,
it's like a home run. It's like a baseball player had a bad stretch and, gets back into it at the end of the year.
So one of the things is I've been fishing long enough that I know that occasionally I will have a bad.
Yeah.
So it doesn't devastate. I mean, it does devastate. Like, I'll be honest with you, mentally, probably the best thing that happened for me after that first event was we went right to another event.
And
back to back.
To kind of learn from my mistakes from the week before. I'll be honest with you. I made one of the most fatal mistakes you can make in fishing. I fished the way I wanted to.
Oh yeah, I do.
And you cannot do that. And I had never been to Toledo that early in the year, and we had had an off day. It was warm. I said they're coming to me. Yeah. I had not caught them in practice there, but I anticipate. I'd have a few bites or whatever, but I anticipate a big wave of those fish moving up, and they didn't. And they actually showed up about 2 weeks after we left. And regardless of what happened, it was still 2 weeks after we left before they showed up. And I fished to where I wanted them to be, and I didn't fish in practice where they were. And so that was just a huge mistake on my part. I just anticipated that, hey, there was water in the bushes. It was warm. We were on a big warming trend. Fish were coming to I guess maybe March was the earliest I'd ever been to Toledo. But I'll tell you another thing. I live 4 hours south of there, and they were spawning here. They were spawning in the house when I left to go to Toledo. And I was like, man, it's warm. The bushes got water in them. There's going to be enough fish come to the bushes that I can do well. And they did. They swam around out in the middle of the lake, and they took a jig head minnow and worked them over.
And like I said, it just went up from there. I mean, a 39th, a 49th, you had a Harris Chain, a 13th place finish, and then on the St. Johns River, a 6th place. I mean, you've cashed a check in about every event except for the first one. So I mean, that's pretty daggone good.
Well, it does make me feel better. I'll be honest with you. Like, things just went right. I was fortunate at the last couple events, and like I said, I'm glad to hear I'm in 21st because I didn't.
Happy we can bring some good news for you.
Yeah. All right, guys. We if you guys missed the beginning, we busted it right here. I mean, Basscast told him where he was, and it was funny you say that because I know Brandon Polinick, when he was leading and winning for Angler of the Year a few years ago, he's like, I don't want to know where I'm at. I don't want nobody to tell me. I want to be peace and quiet. And like, well, tell me where I'm at.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was I just didn't want to. I'm like, I need to go to the next one and have as good a finish as I had at the last. makes sense. Like that's where my mindset is right now. I'm like, you need top ends. And so I didn't, it wasn't that I didn't care where I was. I'm like, I wasn't concerned with, I was like, you just need to do well. You know, 3 events, we go to Murray, then we go to Wheeler, and then we go to Smith Lake, and we have a break. And that break sometimes is good and sometimes it's bad. So I just wanted to be honestly as high as I can possibly be, you know, going into the break before we head to New York.
Okay, we've been lying. You're actually 59th then. Just you know, think.
So you just brought up something right there that's pretty interesting. It kind of sounds like Greg likes the back-to-back tournaments. I mean, without the kind of the breaks or just maybe like a week in between.
Yeah, I really do. I think that like, so momentum is something in every sport.
It is.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I'll be honest with you, after the St. John's, if we could have just had 2 days off and rolled to Murray, I was ready to go. Like I liked the day. It kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier about being on the water. Nothing beats that. And when you're on the water a lot. So the best seasons I've ever had is when I fished 2 tours. And and when I was fishing FL and bass, I just never had a break. And I just went from event to event. And it's almost like you just go numb and you just live in the conditions, if that makes sense, or you just live and you don't really have any you don't, because here's the deal, when a fisherman has time off, he thinks too much.
Yeah, amen.
And that's true. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about Murray, and I'm like, because I've been working on tackle now ever since I've gotten home from the St. John's, and I'm like, you'll overthink it, if that makes sense. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
And so, just when you just leave and go from event to event, and you're on the water every day, you don't have time. Basically, what you do is you show up, put your boat in, and you let the fish tell you what. You just kind of live in the moment, you know, live in the conditions. And that's how I've always fished the best. Like the best seasons I've ever had were always when I fished a lot. And
that's cool.
That fishing and being off, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not spending the time on the water like those guys are. I didn't leave and go to another tournament to pre-fish or whatever, because I have a family and have an obligation.
Yeah.
But I want to stay married, and I'm gone a lot.
So I know that. I know where you're preach. Just preach. I know.
So the deal is, as long as I have a tournament to go to, I can just keep rolling. You know what I mean? And but yeah, I do think nothing beats time on the water. And I would like to I like the back-to-back tournaments. And the other deal is about having a bad tournament and then having a long, you even have more time to think.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yes. You can just roll on to the next event. You just thinking about getting on the water again.
Yeah.
And another thing, what I've noticed is, with me personally, when I'm on the water, I forget about everything else.
Yep.
So when we rolled from Toledo to Lake Fork, when I unloaded at Lake Fork, I never thought about Toledo. I only thought about Lake Fork, and then on. You know, we go to Harris Chain, and the funny thing is, like, Harris Chain and the St. John's were both Florida events. They were totally. They're like daylight and dark fisheries. Like, they fish totally different, but it's still, you just being on the water every day, and you know what I mean, just being used to the way the boat rocks, just how the conditions and the wind and the tide and the currents, and like, I just think that's a huge deal for me personally.
Yeah, you talk about that boat rock, you know, a lot of they don't change as much as they used to, but back in the day, I mean, anglers were swapping boats like every couple of years, and new sponsor here, new sponsor there. You know, you got to get used to the boat itself. You know, we talk about time on the water, you know, John Cox, I mean, he's an example right there. In the last couple of years, him and his wife and family have been on the road all year. I mean, it's from fishing the NPFL to fishing Major League Fishing to fishing the Bassmaster Elites. But they say if you're not fishing, you ain't cashing checks.
You know, that's the deal, and John has made that work. It's been impressive that he has been able to, I mean, just fish every day.
I
don't even know why John's got a house. You know what I mean?
Just need the big fifth wheel and just roll.
I just roll. It is crazy that he fishes so much, but it's good and he likes it. Like I can tell he likes to say, "Oh, I'm tired" or whatever. But the deal is, it's like I said before, it's like when you're doing that every day, you just get conditioned.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to think about anything but fishing.
Yeah.
And
I think last year I was sitting there listening, he fished NPFL and he qualified for the final day. And he's like, "Oh crap, I qualified for the final day and I'm going to get 1 day of practice now because I got to fish the final day of the NPFL, travel, and then fish a Bassmaster event." And I was like, dude, I mean, but we had John Sokup on a couple weeks ago, and John's a huge fan of no practice. I mean, John, like you said earlier, just fishing the conditions, letting the fish come to you and not wasting that time and, going out there and not practicing.
So I think I like, so we only had 2 days of practice at the St. John's, and our
because of the bad weather.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys don't realize this. They're scared, if that makes sense. They need that practice is like their security blanket.
Yeah.
But in the long run, less practice will make them a better angler. Like they'll start to just believe in their gut feeling. You have to, and you see that with John. John rolls up 1 day of practice. Like, this is the way John looks at it. Well, I'll practice today, and then the first day of the tournament, I'll practice again if I need to. Because so how many times do you have great days of fishing when you're practicing? You know what I mean?
No.
It's the first time the fish are seeing the bait. You're fresh. You're moving through an area. But so I would be a big proponent of only 1 day of practice. I think you need 1 day because so you can look at the lake.
Yeah.
Even if you don't fish it, it'd be nice just to run around the lake and look at it, But I would be good with that. Our practice was cut back to at least no more than 2 days. I think that would be, and then so here would be the other there are a couple reasons for that. 2 days of practice, and then we would fish most of the event during the week. So there would be less conflict with local anglers on the weekend. That would be another. So like we would fish championship Saturday, and there'd only be 10 guys fishing on Saturday.
And being a YouTuber, I'll give you some insight that it'll even back up. I think you would get better ratings online because I can tell you, being a YouTuber, that the weekdays, Monday through Thursday, is when most of my audience is online, and that's according to YouTube analytics.
Yeah,
right.
Because I mean, come on, let's face it. Listen, I don't do YouTube full time. I'm a day job network guy, and when I'm at work, I got 2 monitors, and if there's a tournament going on, one of them is dedicated to that.
Exactly.
So man, I never thought about it that way, but that's actually flipping genius. Yeah, that's I think that would help a lot. And I think that would, everybody's arguing about the forward face sonar again, which I'm a Highlands Reservoir guy. I love it. Like, I take mine and sleep with it, put it on a pillow. I'm like, yes. But that would even out. I think that would even it out a lot too. 2 days, 1 day of practice. I mean, you don't have all day to drive around and look. You're either going to drive around and look, or you're going to go traditional practice.
Right.
or split that day. I think that would even. I think that would even it out. Which that's a whole nother argument, but
it is. But like you said, we talked to a lot of professional anglers here, and most of the time, because you have gone to so many of the same places over and over.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, like we said earlier, a certain time of the year, but you guys kind of know it's going to take 25 pounds a day. And then after you get the 25 pounds, all right, I got enough to make the cut. I got enough to be sitting in a great spot, for day 2. You go practice. You just ride.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is
events that you figure them out during the event or when you'll do the best.
Yeah.
You're like, so a lot of times, like, I'll be honest with you, that I'm not down on Toledo Bend, but that deal of we practice 3 days and having the off day, I mean, so many times that's burnt me. Like by the time the tournament got there, because you still want to kind of mentally, you want to go with what you found on Monday.
Right.
Which was like, so man, even Harris Chain, you know, we had an off day, then we had a cancellation day. It had literally been 6 days since I had been to the fish that I fished the first day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had days since I had been there. And that living in the moment deal is typically so much better. Always what I hope for in practice is that I get on a little something to get me started in the right direction. And then the first day of the tournament, you dial it in. And then you can, as it moves, the fish move, whatever's changing, especially this time of the year, you know, any spring event, it's a constant change, whether it's fish spawn coming to the bed or cold front, you know, things are always moving, you know, so it's a lot better to have less time on the water practicing.
That's true.
And get the event, you know, so you can live in the moment.
Yeah, every day's a progression during the spring, so they're not going to be where they were 2 days ago. A lot of times, they've moved. So,
yeah, we talk about that a lot on the Bass Cast Radio about being spun out, and you know that's a great example of that. The days of practice, and then like you said, you know we had bad weather. The last event, so day one got postponed, and championship Monday is what it ended up being. So, I mean, you know, we could concentrate on that and then screw up a whole daggone tournament.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you could still run, you know, because I mean, I know we have the you know, the weigh-ins and stuff and we like that. And, you know, I mean, if it's in your area, you know, I know if I was in school or work, I'm playing hooky. I'm not advocating playing hooky, kids, okay? But you know, but then you could still do like do you know, championship Saturday. You know, that's the big day, you know, that everybody's going to be out, and then they can, you know, jet home on Sundays when it comes to the classic, you know. So you still get that big expo type, you know, deal. So
we've tied up to.
Have you got your PowerPoint ready, Greg? Have you got your PowerPoint ready? Have you walked in and did the presentation for this for bass yet?
That to them a couple times on so here's the other deal. I think the classic should be the first event of the year, and I don't like that. So when I tell you that, me as a angler, I don't like it being the first tournament of the year. For the industry, that's the best time to have it. It just starts the industry.
But you know, it does, but it limits where you can really have it at.
You know, that's a problem with it, and the weather. You know, you have to deal with cold, nasty weather or whatever. But the deal with having the classic as the first one, because people been in all winter. You know, a lot of like snowed in, whatever, can't go fish.
Yeah.
So they vicariously through the classic. You know, so the classic would jumpstart the industry. So the problem with having it like later in March, everybody's fishing. You know what I mean? Or
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
See, I'd like to see them maybe put it on a rotation of some sort, like maybe 2-3 years at the first, 2-3 years at the middle, 2-3 years at the end. That way you can start having some of the classics, you know, even up north.
So personally, I would prefer the end, like the July, the August time.
Right. That would be, and you could really have it anywhere at that point.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Like anywhere. I mean, here's the deal. You can have it at the end of the season. We could because here's the deal. We can fish back-to-back events. We can be through before July. You basically could almost fish the spawn.
Yeah.
In parts of the country.
Is anybody out there taking notes? I mean, we're fixing problems here.
Yes.
And you're right about that, Hackney, because there's a tournament trail here. It's a pretty big tournament trail here, English Choice Marine. And they kick off every year in March, the same weekend as the Bassmaster Classic. So, I mean, everybody has started, fishing tournaments when the Classic gets fired up.
And I can, again, YouTube analytics, March, you know, December, January, February, some of my best views. You know,
Yeah.
we're
100%.
talking about, you know, I'm middle of the country talking about, you know, new baits, new gear, stuff we're going to do, and skyrockets. March comes along, bam, everybody's fishing. Ain't nobody care about watching YouTube.
That is the truth, because they're not watching then because they're fishing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the only problem, that like going later, you know, again, the classic next year will be later. Man, there's like the fishing season's already started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? Like from the mid part of the country south, by the end of March, they're even, you know, even if the water's 40, they're still fishing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I work with Camus, and they kind of flubbed up my hotel, so I was pretty happy I got to stay home and fish. work didn't get PTO back. I didn't give it back to them. Yeah.
All right, guys. Tonight, Greg Hackney on with us. Really appreciate you coming on. We're gonna wrap it up with this, man. The Big Bass Tour is right here on Smith Mountain Lake. If you guys have never been to Smith Mountain Lake, it is a clear, deep body of water. And you know, we introduced the tiger bass a few years ago to Smith Mountain Lake, so we got some giants in there now.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we introduced the tiger bass. It's probably been about 10 years ago now. And yeah, because time flies, and we're old. So
Craig, they're putting some sacks in on Smith Mountain. It's got good, man.
We've got some 8s. We got some 9s that come out of this lake.
Yes.
And for you guys who know, SML Tackle Shack, my sponsor, if you guys catch a 10-pounder and it's weighed on my scales, they're going to give you $500 gift card to the store. He just wants to see a 10-pounder out of this big bad boy, because we've invested a lot of daggone money and time. So,
well, maybe this is the week. Maybe you'll get
yeah.
Maybe we will see it this week. What's some tips you could give someone out here, you know, fishing the Big Bass Tour, man?
So, you know, probably maybe it was the last time we were there when Skeet dominated with a swim bait.
It was.
I know.
Yes, the big one. Yes.
That's right. That's a great way to catch a big bass. And then probably the other deal right now, I would think that a man could visually see one, maybe laying those round circles. I would probably spend some time.
Yeah.
You know, looking for one to catch. And then the other deal would be the shad spawn.
Yep.
You know, first thing in the morning, that's a great way to catch a big bass. You know, right out the gate. I know Smith Mountain has a lot of riprap. And when we've been there in the past, you shad spawn on the riprap.
Yeah. What's your favorite shad spawn bait?
Oh, it'd have to be a spinnerbait.
Yeah. Do you put what kind of trailer? Do you put a trailer on a shad spawn during shad spawn?
So the deal is, like, because I reel a spinnerbait slow during the shad spawn, I'll have a trailer on. And I don't know that it matters what kind of trailer, but I like a piece of meat on the back of that hook.
What do you like? What's your favorite? Come on, spill the beans.
You know, probably number one be a rage swimmer. I like the small, like
I like a grub.
Yeah, like
a rage tail.
Small one. But I think it's just because you're reeling that bait slow.
Yeah.
I just think it's a big deal to have that trailer on there when they ease up there, gives them something to get a hold of.
Yeah.
The whole deal with that spinnerbait in the shad spawn, those shad are attracted to the spinnerbait.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you reel it in, it's the spinnerbait, but it's a whole school of shad with it. You know, they're your spinnerbait. So,
first time I ever experienced shad spawn, I threw a spinnerbait out there because somebody told me it was good for a shad spawn, and it literally come floating back to me. That's that much on Douglas.
Yeah,
Douglas Lake in Tennessee. Yeah. I was like, what is going on with this?
Yeah. They like the way your spinnerbait looks.
They liked it a lot.
All right, Greg, we really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for talking with us tonight. Dude, anytime you want to come back, the conversation is awesome. Guys, like you said, we love Greg Hackney. I mean, you know, I don't know how many different series you've done. I think you did one about a year or two ago, where they kind of followed you around and done a bunch of videos and some teaching videos. And were you ever, I think, part of the Bass Pro Shop series that they did?
No, so actually that deal was Kings of Bass. That was a strike king.
Strike.
That's right. It was the Kings. Yes.
Put
So
that
I
deal.
was going back even farther with the Bass Pro Shop series that they did probably like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago.
Yeah, it might have been longer than that, but
Longer than that, yeah. I mean, that was another great series. So I mean, guys, if you want to learn how to bass fish, Greg Hackney is the man. By the way, it's a plug for Bass U. We all love Ike and Ellie. Greg was on there the other day, just a day ago, and you guys head on over and take a look at that and watch it, and support our friends at Bass University. They've had a lot of our friends on, kayak anglers, you name it, because the sport has gotten so diverse. Before we leave, man, anybody you want to thank, or anybody you want to, social media or anything? I mean, everybody's following you. If they don't know how to follow you, it's like,
well, if you do get a chance, Greg Hackney Fishing, that's my Facebook and my Instagram. But I thank everybody. Number one would be my family.
yeah,
Ones that allow me to do this first and all. But all my sponsors, take care of me. I am very blessed that you were talking about changing boats or whatever. I've been in a Phoenix boat since 2009. Here it is,
Nice.
halfway through 2024. It has been been a luxury to be able to be with the same boat company. I've been with Mercury since 2005.
wow.
So been with Strike King since 2005. So I have been very fortunate to have had the same sponsors for a long period of time that support me, and they do make the industry go, because all these, like I'm looking at all those baits hanging behind you, all those people support, what we do.
Yes,
that's true.
And then possible.
There's a bunch of Strike King in there.
Yeah, but again, whoever's brand it is, whoever's boat brand it is, whoever's motor brand it is, all these companies are in it with us.
Yeah.
And everybody makes a great product. It's just one you like. We live in a world with a ton of great stuff, and you just get to pick from whatever you like. So good times in the bass fishing, without a doubt.
That is very true. I was part of media for the for an event a couple of weeks ago, and Bass Blaster was back there. That's what I always call him. Bass Blaster was back there talking to a guys like, "Do you guys have anything different?" Nah, we just try to make it just a little bit better. And I was like, yes, the market is there. I mean, it's at a point now where I don't want to say it's flooded, but it's flooded. I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
I got 30 jig head minnows, different brands.
There's any brand out there you want. Everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
All right, guys. Greg Hackney, again, brother, appreciate you coming on talking with us. And guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. All right, guys, really appreciate Hackney coming on and talking with us today. Dude, we love Hackney. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it's just something
Fun
about,
interview.
heck of an interview, and it's something about Hackney himself, just his personality, his teachability, and I've seen him get upset, but I've never seen him get like angry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been knowing Hackney for years, so.
The great thing about Hackney is he's a fun guy. Anytime you see him on any show, you just see that he likes to have a good time. He likes to have fun. He's a jokester, but don't be misguided, because you can tell, man, with like a lot of the stuff that we talked about Bassmaster and the middle of the week stuff, and like, that was stuff like I'd never even considered. But then once I started, he got my wheels turning. I was like, dang, man, that's actually a genius idea. I know it,
I mean, there's a lot, there's tournaments here, and they've talked about doing them. And there was one, it didn't last long because the entry fee was like $10 billion. It wasn't, but it kind of sounded like it. But it was during the middle of the week, and
well, I understand for the working man, right?
Yeah, like, it is kind of hard.
Yeah, but for the pros, which we know a lot of those pros are still working men, right? So that's going to be the hard part. Like, how's that going to affect those guys? But for at least like the elite level, like I'm not saying the Opens or the Toyotas or that level, But at least for like the elite level, man, I think that, and I really think it would help. Which everybody cries, oh, I'm not watching, but everybody still watches. The hits, Bassmaster has put the views out, and they haven't lost this thing. Actually, viewership has gone up this year, so
Yeah.
it's that's pretty interesting.
The only thing
Good
about today,
conversation.
it's a great conversation piece, and the only thing that we discuss about that is now that we have TV rights, and everybody's home on the weekends, and
Yeah.
they want that Saturday and Sunday TV right,
But
because that's
see, I think that's
prime time.
I think that's for anglers though. For anglers, you could your tournaments could dominate daytime TV. I mean, it could possibly be as big as soap operas because used to be in the day. Because think about it, like I said, we're outdoors people, and I can tell you right now, Friday, I will not put a video out on a Friday or a Saturday. I will only put a video out on a Sunday after 5 o'clock. Why is it? Because Friday, everybody's getting ready to go fishing. Saturday, everybody's fishing. Sunday, they're either fishing or in church till 5 o'clock, and now they're getting ready to go to work, and they're thumbing through that
seeing what happened on the weekend. Yeah,
there you go.
And like Geek said, same here as well. The Basscast doesn't, we do not put out any original content on Friday, Saturday, and until late Sunday. If we do put a piece out that night, opinion piece usually is what we throw out on Sunday nights, because we've seen all the amazing stuff from the weekend you guys have been doing. But we got a new one by Bruce Callis that I just posted. That today is Wednesday, so I mean, we put it up, and we got another story possibly going up tomorrow. But I mean, we just do it that way because we know you guys are on the water. So, well, guys, appreciate you on location right here from Smith Mountain Lake. Sorry I couldn't go outside. I tried to go outside, and the internet just dropped completely off, and I didn't want us to be worse than what I'm hoping it's not. So I think we got a great show here. Hope you guys enjoyed watching and learning and talking to Greg Hackney.
I know I had a great time. That was a blast. It was, being able to sit down and pick, the Hack Attacks brain. That's pretty big deal.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week at the house of Basscast Radio. Head on over and follow us on wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a comment, because that's how it grows. And YouTube, Basscast Radio is on there as well. Hit the subscribe button. And last but not least, Baskey's channel, man. Let's get him up to 100,000 this year. Let's make it happen.
Let's see here. I'll tell you where we're at right now. I think we're at 77,295. So we're about to hit 77,300. So it's been good. Right. It's been, April was a good month. We're in the 1st of May. Hopefully we're going to keep the momentum going, like Mr. Hackney said, keep that mow rolling.
All right, guys, have a great night. I'm sitting up here on Smith Mountain Lake all week. If you're in the area, come on up here and hang out and watch the weigh-in. It's a weigh-in every hour, on the hour, starting at 8 o'clock, and the last one from 2 to 3 o'clock. And on Sunday afternoon, somebody's going to hold up that trophy and take home a brand new Nitro boat. So signing off here. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll be talking to you later.